Well, good evening, everybody out there in internet land. Hi, hello, and how are you doing? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. I am joined by this wonderful lady right over here, Miss Tracy Barkley from GenX Marks the Spot. And this is the Wednesday Night Newsroom, known sometimes affectionately as a gathering of croaky and jokey. Anyway, we are glad. Yeah, so if my voice is a little shaky right now, folks, I'll tell you right now, I'm still trying to get over, but got to get back in the saddle. So good to have all of you here tonight. We're hanging out on YouTube. We're hanging out on Rumble. We're hanging out on Twitter. So if you haven't done it yet, share the link around with your friends. Tell them to get the butts in here, and let's talk about what the heck is going on in the world. And with that, hello, Tracy.
Hello, Brian. Long time no see.
Oh, man, I tell you what. Last week just absolutely put me on my butt for a while. I mean, and the funny part about it is I went to the doctor, they swabbed me, and it's not COVID, it's not the flu, it's not a respiratory virus, it's just a cold. But I tell you what, this one put me on my butt like I ain't never seen before. I'd come home, go to bed at 7 o'clock at night, and wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean,
I understand.
Yeah.
Ever since we sprang forward, I've just been, I hate daylight savings time. I hate it. I'd rather have the extra hour in the morning. I don't know why that is, but I feel better. And it's a statistical fact that auto accidents go up during daylight savings time because it messes with your circadian rhythm. So it could be partly that too.
Really? Oh, now there's a new one for you, folks. See,
really, Google it.
All right. Well, see, this is why you need to tell your friends to subscribe not only to her channel, but to my channel. It's these little interesting factoids that you get that you will not find anywhere else on the internet. So, yes, by all means, subscribe to Tracy's wonderful YouTube channel, GenX Marks the Spot. Subscribe to mine on YouTube and Rumble. We would greatly appreciate it. And with that, we're going to dive just straight on in because there has been an accumulated week of memes that have been going around. And I tell you what, that madman, WWG1 over on Rumble, and yes, he is in the house tonight. So, yeah, he's here. Hang on. You can tell it's been a while since I've done this. I forgot to pop out the chat. Anyway, glad to have y'all here tonight. And let's see, we'll start first with saying hello to folks over on the Rumble. WWG1 is here in the house to see what kind of effect his handiwork has had. TBA is here. Glad to see both of you gentlemen. I probably could do the whole show just on memes, TBA. I agree with you completely. Mm-hmm. All right, who else is here?
The crazy Canadian or the crazy British Canadian. I'm not exactly sure how to define him. He's a British person living in Canada.
Confused. I think the word we're looking for is confused. Fella. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Hello, Miss Lana.
Love you, Adam.
Let's see who else be here. Cardiac arrest goes up after daylight. Say, really? I tell you what. The stuff you learn. Salty old fart 70 is over on Rumble. Glad to have you here tonight, sir. Good to have everybody in the house. All right, let's get right to it. Donald Trump has been making big waves with big news about economics. You have prices of eggs going down, prices of gasoline's going down. Companies are coming into the country. Manufacturing starting to announce they're coming back. Hyundai's putting a $20 billion plant up in, Louisiana? So, which made me think back to a conversation that a former president had with the current president, and it went something like this. Jobs of the past are not going to just come back. Well, what's he going to do? Wave a magic wand? Abracadabra, bitch.
Yeah, Apple's going to start making crap here. Toyota is actually, I've seen Toyota ads where they're actually talking about made in America, a Japanese company. They're talking about how much of their vehicles are made here in the United States.
Oh, I tell you what, and I'm glad to see it. I am absolutely glad to see it. It is, my mom and I were commenting about this the other night because she's older and remembers a time in my hometown. And if I've told this story, just feel free to stop me. But my uncle used to make the statement, when it came to my hometown, you could quit your job in the morning, and by the end of the day, you'd have a new job. That's how much manufacturing was taking place in my hometown. We at one time had a population of about 75, 80,000 people. And by the late 60s, early 70s, it's dropped off to 30,000. The manufacturing has just disappeared, by and large.
And that has a lot to do with free trade. I mean, sad as that sounds, it has a lot to do. And when NAFTA came in the 90s, that killed what hadn't already left. That really did. You had things like textiles move out first, because you can't pay. Our Americans will not work for the amount of money that Mexicans will work. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah, it's true.
And so you had textile. I mean, I lived near Fort Payne, Alabama, which at one time in the 70s and 80s was called the sock capital of the world, because like every major textile company had a mill there, and they did apparel, socks, jeans. I worked a summer in a jean factory, folding jeans one summer while I was in high school. Yep. And after NAFTA, gone. All of them gone to Mexico.
Yeah. My hometown at one time had a ladies' dress factory, a gentleman's suit factory, and a shoe factory. We manufactured shoes in this town. My mom worked at that shoe factory, or she went on to another job. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's kind of funny when I saw that meme. I was like, well, all right. Abracadabra, bitch. There you go. Well, Trump has been busy doing other things aside from making business deals. He's been signing a whole lot of executive actions, and one of them is more controversial perhaps than anything else you've seen. I don't know if you've heard about his invocation of this one, but apparently Trump is ready to deport the entire Democrat Party using the Gay and Wildhearted Act of 79. So I don't know how this one's going to hold up in court, folks. I'm just saying this one might be a real sticky wicket. Just saying. But Trump, he's making moves, man. He's making moves. So your thoughts on that one, by the way?
It's going to get me ranting about the whole federal judges thing. I think it's abysmal that a federal judge in California can make a ruling that holds up something for the entire country. That has nothing to do with their jurisdiction. The Supreme Court needs to rule on just how much power these federal judges have. And because what's happening, they're judge shopping. You've got these Democrats going to democratically appointed judges that they know are activists. And most of these judges that have made these rulings, they either themselves have taken a lot of money from from ActBlue, or they have a relative that works very deeply with either NGOs or the Democratic Party themselves. There's so much conflict of interest with most of these judges. So they're shopping for judges that will make these orders. And when inevitably these rulings are overturned, it's just cost the American taxpayer money and time.
Well, I'll give a couple thoughts on this. We can get into this in the news portion. I'm like you. We are here right now in part because John Roberts and the other members of the Supreme Court, or some of them anyway, will not stand down their brethren in the black robes. I mean, this is absolutely absurd. I mean, TBA over on Rumble says the best: judges have no jurisdiction over the executive branch. True enough, not over the functioning of the office, and that's the problem we're getting into now. And frankly, if the Supreme Court doesn't do something about this, they're going to force Congress to do something that they haven't done in a very long time. And most people forget about this, but Mike Johnson made a very, important observation the other day. We could always defund the courts. Well, the media just went ape over that statement. But he's not wrong, because everybody tends to forget. Yeah. There is only one court in the Constitution that is called for, and that is the Supreme Court of the United States. Everything else is up to the discretion of the Congress. And frankly,
Yeah.
Here's my thing. I think, this is just my opinion, if this is going to get resolved, don't look to the Supreme Court to do it. They would love to do it and have it out of their hair, but they're not going to be the ones that make this determination. If this is going to get resolved, we need legislation, and the Congress would be perfectly within its rights to do it, because there's nothing the courts can do at that point. And frankly, if it gets down to it, and the Congress has to be the one to pass legislation to do what John Roberts should be doing as the Chief Justice, then this is going to hurt the court worse than anything else. It won't be the Congress that winds up hurting the court. It'll be the Supreme Court that winds up hurting the whole judiciary. But
And
that's
none
just
of these
me.
rulings have any credence. First of all, they have no power of the executive, and the orders to deport are coming straight from ICE. ICE has the power to deport illegal aliens. And we have made a deal with El Salvador to take people that their own country won't take. If Venezuela would take these people back, we would send them to Venezuela, but they won't.
Yeah.
Our Gitmo is full, so they're sending them where they have room, and that is El Salvador. And I love the fact that Trump just says, "Oh, they're over international waters. Continue." I love that.
Yeah. You know, it harkens back to Andrew Jackson. Well, you know, John Marshall made his ruling. Now let's see him enforce it. You know, so sometimes everything is a matter of perspective. And folks, I present you this next meme in that same vein. Just consider the following. The difference between what you see as a child and what you see after posting 10 years of anti-government memes. Just think about it. Just think about it. We're just saying. Oh, goodness me. What else is going on? Well, we do have some AOC news. She's been making waves with her oligarchy tour that she and Senator Bernie Sanders have been out on. And apparently she's been making some pretty bold proclamations. For example, did you know that she's made a vow that, you know, in order to fight the oligarchy, I mean, Tracy, this is a pretty bold campaign promise. Really. I mean, you know, she's getting tough. She's getting tough out there, man. That's all I'm saying. This lady is just getting tough.
I have so many lefties that try to tell me how intelligent she is. I'm like, I don't see it. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. You know, I mean, I'm sure she's smart, you know, smart enough to come in out of the rain, but she just...
Are you sure about that one?
I mean, yeah. Whoa. Hey, Brian, you there? Well, y'all, it appears Brian has slammed the proverbial door shut and decided to leave. Hopefully he'll be back.
No, I'm
soon.
here. I'm here. Really, I'm here.
Did the CIA get you, man? Are they trying to stop our stream?
I guess they did.
It appears that we're under a virtual raid of our own here.
Okay, apparently I'm going camera free, so I think everybody's going to be much, much happier with that. No, I don't think it's YouTube. I don't think it's YouTube, but something's happened here. Technical issues, ladies and gentlemen. Technical issues, I tell you.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. But yeah, I just don't see why. I'm glad that she's the leader of the Democratic Party, because what does Sun Tzu say? Never stop your enemy when he's making a mistake.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now, I don't think I need to go this far, Adam. I mean, really. I mean, good grief. This is just a little bit absurd, my friend. I mean, Hexit's got a lot on his mind right now. I don't think he needs to be worried about me. That's all I'm saying. Oh, my goodness. Well, AOC's out there. Bernie's out there. protesters are out there. You got vandalism. You've got all kinds. You got Tesla dealerships getting firebombed, people getting threatened, and you got basic vandalism. And the vandalism is coming in places you wouldn't even expect. That's how sneaky some of these people are. I mean, for example, look what happened to Liz Cheney. Good God. Poor woman goes to sleep one night and then winds up with that on her forehead the next morning. Good grief. Just absolutely crazy. Absolutely
I hope
crazy.
they also put her. I hope they also put her hand in a dish of warm water as well.
Oh, don't do that to me. You're gonna make me cough. Okay, I've got it pulled back together here.
All right.
Well, now that one would be bad enough, but there's other forms of vandalism that are absolutely stirring up all kinds of different communities. And Adam, this one is for you, my friend. So just I don't know what y'all got going on up there, but that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You Canadians.
It's nice to know there's still some patriots left in Canada.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You Canadians up there, man. That's all I'm saying. You Canadians. Oh, goodness me.
This isn't a meme, but it probably will be. Did you see one of the latest Tesla terrorists they arrested?
No. What about him?
Dude was at least 600 pounds, and he rammed into 2 Teslas with his mobility scooter.
Oh, wait. I think I have seen this.
Now, as a large woman myself, I'm not making fun of anybody that's obese, but the irony in that is truly ironic.
Yeah, I agree with you. I totally agree with you.
And I bet I can. Yeah. It was the latest arrest. I can't remember where. I want to say it was in Washington, but literally right before I popped in here. So let's see if I can find it.
No, apparently up in Connecticut, it was not fake. Not fake at all, actually. But anyway, while you're looking for that, I got a couple of 3 more memes to roll through here.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just never know who people really are. So with that in mind, check this one out.
I found out the craziest shit today. There's a dentist down the road that just got busted selling drugs. I've been going to this guy for 14, 15 years, since high school, really. Never would have dreamed he was a dentist.
So I'm not saying, folks, but I'm just saying, sometimes you never really know people. You just never know them. So
I found it. I'm going to send you the link.
All right.
In private chat here, and it was in Texas of all places.
Of course it was in Texas. It would have to be Texas. Thank you.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah, in more ways than one.
Let's see if I can pull him up here.
Oh God, yes, I've seen this. Oh yeah. We got to do this. Okay, folks, check this out. This is a Tesla protester. And one more time. Boom. That is unique. That's all I'm saying. It's just unique. Or as we say
But
here in the South, bless his heart.
props to the maker of that mobility scooter, because not only is it hauling him around, it withstood 2 direct hits into a Tesla, which are military grade metal.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I mean, for myself, I am not inclined to buy a Tesla for any number of reasons. One of them is I just don't like the aesthetic look of them. I mean, to me,
Right.
I mean, they're, and don't get me wrong, there's a place for futuristic look. But to me, I'm kind of old fashioned.
Now some of the Cybertrucks are very futuristic, but some of the coupes, like the cars, very modern looking. So you might want to check out some of those.
Okay. Well, there is some pop culture news to talk about. As you all know, the latest live action remake, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, has absolutely done wonders at the box office. Notice I didn't say good wonders, I just said wonders. You wonder how they could make a movie quite so bad. That said, however, Disney is undaunted. They are going ahead with another live action remake. And it's a take on one of our favorites of all time. So in the near future, look for Disney to do a remake of 101 Dalmatians. And ladies and gentlemen, if you know, you know. That's all I'm saying. So, yep, apparently Disney's going to go ahead with a live action remake of 101 Dalmatians, and apparently they've already got some of the cast members. So, there you go. All right. One last one, we'll get into some news. And this one is more in the way of a thought for the night. Okay? Just consider the following. Without taxes, we would have never caught Al Capone. Without prohibition, who would have ever known the man? Just think about it.
Without prohibition, we wouldn't have an income tax either, Brian. Did you know that?
That's true. That is true.
Income tax was created to make up for the revenue lost from liquor sales. And they just decided to keep it even after they brought back liquor sales.
There you go. Chris from My Morning Mayhem has stopped in over on Rumble. Yes, brother, I am alive. Believe it or not. Health has not exactly been the best for the past 7 or 10 days. So glad to have you in the house and good to see you. And there's somebody else you need to be following. Is My Morning Mayhem on Rumble and on YouTube. He is a good dude with good content. So check him out.
Chris.
All right.
I was so excited that Chris followed me on Twitter. I was just so excited.
Chris is a good dude. Chris is a genuinely good dude. Zippy's in the house. Zippy's in the house. Oh my God. It was a mutual
following situation.
Oh my goodness. Zippy is here. Lord have mercy. All right. Tracy, you want to start off the night? What you got for us?
As far as news, the only thing that I've been ingesting since it was released is the JFK files. And I am nowhere near through the 80,000 individual documents that were put onto the National Archive. But from what I have read, it is apparent to me that my faith in the United States government and their ability to accomplish anything with efficiency I didn't think it could get any lower until I read through some of the JFK files, Brian.
Oh, God.
First of all, let's talk about just some little side things that happened that I thought were kind of funny.
All right.
There was one letter. It was written by a witness to the Warren Commission talking about what was happening in Texas around November 22nd, 1963. It so happens that the Prince of Saudi Arabia was coming for a state visit and wanted to visit Texas, wanted to visit Dallas.
Okay.
And in that letter, this CIA agent admits that he was asked to secure a female companion for the Saudi Arabian sheik while he was here. So
Really?
net, your tax, well, not my tax dollars or our tax dollars, but our parents' tax dollars went to pay for a prostitute for the Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Oh my God. I'm not surprised. I am not surprised at all. Not in the slightest. Oh my Lord.
Now, as far as the other things in the files, I have um, Lee Harvey Oswald. I mean, we all kind of know who he is. Well, first of all, he was a Marine. He was a sniper in the Marine. But after he was discharged from the Marine Corps, I don't know if everybody knows it, most people do, that he attempted to defect to the Soviet Union. And they did not exceed. He went to Moscow. He went to the American embassy in Moscow, attempted to surrender his American citizenship. That put him on the CIA's radar, as it would. And then he did go to the Soviets and attempt to make a deal, offering to give them any information he had accumulated as a sniper in the Marine Corps. They did not think he was worth that much, but they did allow him to remain as a resident of the Soviet Union for a few years, about 2 years. They helped. He married a Soviet citizen while I was there. He lived in Minsk. Well, the CIA had operatives following him the entire time he was in the Soviet Union. And then when he returned to the United States about 1961, he again attempted to defect. He went to Mexico City and went to the Soviet embassy there and attempted again to defect. And again, the CIA had operatives following him. They knew that he was a risk. They knew that he was very much into the Castro movement in Cuba. They knew he had a huge, strong distaste for the American government. And just like so many mass shootings that could have been prevented because they were being watched, but nobody picked them up, they did nothing. And what did we get out of it? One dead president.
Typical. Absolutely typical. Now, did they not do anything about it, or they didn't want to do anything about it? That's the $1 million question.
It doesn't, there's no way I can ascertain that from what I'm
Yeah.
reading. But
Yeah.
I don't know if it's incompetence or they were just looking the other way, because there was also a lot of documents that, let's just say that the CIA was very upset with Kennedy because he refused. They were setting up the counter-revolution in Cuba to get Castro out of power.
Yeah.
That's what the Bay of Pigs was supposed to be. It was supposed to be the start of a counter-revolution that would pretty much install a CIA puppet as leader of Cuba. And Kennedy said that we had no business being in there, and he refused to give them air support. And of course, the Bay of Pigs ended up being a huge disaster for the rebels. That pissed off a lot of people that were funding that. The CIA that was setting it up. There were certain elements in the Italian mob that had been supplying weapons and other things for that. Things like that. So there was a lot of people with a lot of power that were mad at him. And so, barring being an absolute aluminum hat wearer and saying they did it, I'm not going to go that far because it doesn't prove anything like that. I'm going to say they probably turned a blind eye to a lot of it and just let it unfold.
Yeah, I'd say you're absolutely right. I mean, look, there are people who are combing through those 80,000 pages, and a lot of legitimate questions are being asked. Like, what role? I mean, was it any one person that pulled the trigger on Kennedy? No. To me, and again, you all are better experts at this sort of thing than I am. To me, it's a combination of individuals who wanted him dead. Yeah. I think a lot of things in the end point back to Lyndon Baines Johnson, who had the most incentive to see Kennedy eliminated. There's a conversation that. Go ahead.
No, one thing that was unusual in those files, there was a Secret Service detail that was the one that was with Johnson that day.
Right.
that said that he had requested an extra suit for the day. They were just going through the whole itinerary. That jumped out at me. I don't know if it means anything. It may be standard protocol for the president to take a change of clothes, but it just seems convenient.
Yeah.
To me.
Yep. Absolutely. And there was a conversation that Roger Stone had with the late President Richard Nixon, and they had some cocktails, and Stone screwed up the courage, in his words, and he asked Nixon flat out. He's like, "Do you really know who killed JFK?" He's like, "Well, Roger, I'll tell you this much: the Warren Commission is complete and absolute bullshit." He said, "Really?" Nixon was like, "Yeah." He said, "Lyndon Baines Johnson and I both want to be president." He said, "The difference is I won't kill someone to get it." And that's all Nixon said about it. He's like, "I won't kill anyone to get it." He didn't say Lyndon wouldn't kill anybody. Nixon said, "I won't do it." So I think that was sort of his way of dropping what he knew without really dropping what he knew. Yeah. Because, even then, this would have been like the middle to latter 80s. That subject was still hot, and still is to this day, because no one's ever gotten a satisfactory answer what really happened. Hot. Yeah. And people would genuinely like to know. It's like, what the heck actually happened here? Because there's no way that a single bullet theory coming from one gun fired by Oswald makes any sense. Not the trajectory of the bullets, not the wounds, not the everything else. Everywhere. Yeah. I mean,
the one that was bouncing around and hit Governor Conley, and then hit Kennedy.
Yeah. Makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, I don't want to say this. If Lee Harvey Oswald was firing from an elevated position down on Kennedy, then why is it that the second or third shot blew the back of Kennedy's head off, such that Jackie is reaching back on the trunk?
Unless he was, except that he was, he the only way that would have happened is if he was leaning slightly forward, and he wasn't doing that. He was sitting flat back in the seat.
Yeah,
he got hit. Side to pull the Secret Service, help the Secret Service agent climb up on the car. And also, why was the president riding in an open top car to begin with?
Why did they slow down at the turn? Why did they? Yeah. There's a million and one security protocols that were either ignored or overridden that day and made no sense at all. None. Yeah. But it's absolutely
or not, or they're or the
absolutely. So, but it's and there are there still papers that are yet to be released? Or are they releasing them, or do we have?
I think we have 99% of them. There's still 1% that is under judicial sequester from the time of the Warren Commission. So I don't know if we'll ever get those, but everything that they can release has been released. And I was just about to say, up in Connecticut, the fact that the little douchebag that shot at President Trump, in Butler, missed from, it was a miracle that Trump turned his head. But you're telling me that a miss from as close as he was to Trump, you're saying that Oswald was able to land those two shots? No. Not at all.
No, I wholeheartedly concur. And we know
this. And we know that Secret Service lacking in their job is a thing from Butler. So I'm pretty sure it was also lacking on November 22nd, 1963 as well. And the fact that Oswald himself was executed live on television 2 days later at a perp walk. Jack Ruby with a sidearm was able to get that close to somebody that was a suspect in the shooting of a president and was allowed to take him out.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like in the basement of the Dallas Police Department, this guy brings a gun in and none of that makes any sense. None. Just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
And they found him too easily too. I mean, like I said, they had been following him for years because of his Soviet, activities. And yet they were able to track him to the movie theater and arrest him right outside it. I mean, I know I'm getting into Oliver Stone territory here, but it's just the whole thing makes no sense. And nothing that I've read so far, and I've read about 8,000 pages of it, about 10% of it, nothing that I'm reading is changing my mind about any of this. If not, it's just making me see just how either incompetent or evil our government, or complacent our government was in this assassination.
No, yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, to me, there's a whole bunch of reasons why a whole bunch of people wanted Kennedy gone. They had a myriad of reasons, individually and collectively, to see JFK removed from office in one way or another. And all the elements came together at just the right time, in the right place, and unfortunately in the wrong way for the country. And the country hasn't been right since, in so many different respects, since JFK's assassination. We've never really had closure on it.
Trust in our government went at its lowest level. And,
Absolutely. And there's just so many things related to frankly, that the Warren Commission was supposed to answer the questions. No, the Warren Commission was a cover-up. It was an absolute cover-up. I mean, they didn't even have access to the autopsy photos, for heaven's sake. How can you write a report definitively telling people unless they've got access to all the information, which they never did? Just complete. Yeah. I mean, WWG1 makes a good point over on Rumble. JFK went after the deep state. He failed. Trump is not failing. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people forget John Kennedy wanted to disband the CIA. As a matter of fact, in his words, send it to the winds. And I'm like, yeah, the CIA had a major reason to get rid of Kennedy. The Dulles brothers had absolutely every reason to get rid of Kennedy.
Well, that, and he absolutely wanted zero American involvement in the country, in the national affairs of other countries. Yep. No more U.S. coups, no more us propping up puppets or arming rebels or starting rebellions. He wanted none of that. That's a major reason that other countries dislike us, is because we interfere in their government.
Yeah, and making sure that he got us out of Vietnam. Lyndon got he got the Vietnam War and everything that went along with it. So, but yeah,
the last troops didn't come home until 1975. 12 years after Kennedy died, and Kennedy wanted to hardcore remove them. And I know we needed to stop communism, but France also started that war and then left us to clean up.
Oh yeah, well, there's a lot of things you can say about the French, and this is one more reason why I don't like them. When I think back over our history of having to deal with the French, there's a lot of reasons why I'm like, if anything, if they suggest anything, I tend to look at it with a very jaundiced eye, because my first question is, what's in it for the French, and what's it going to cost the Americans?
Exactly. All the way back to World War One. They, them and England and started that war. Yep. And basically, the United States had to come in and play mop up. And then World War II, they absolutely had a hand in starting that. Yep. If they had come down harder on Hitler in the beginning and clamped down and held him to the Treaty of Versailles, a lot of that wouldn't have happened. But they didn't. They were trying to appeasement, and it didn't work. And then we had to come in and mop up again. Who was the first ally to surrender in World War II? France.
France. Yeah.
And it was the Americans that liberated them. And
Mhm.
yeah, we thank them for the help they gave us in the American Revolution, but I think we've paid that back many, many times over. They were the ones that got things kicked off in Vietnam. We had to come in and finish it.
Yep. Yep. I mean, yeah. I mean, Chardon, we're glad to have you here, our British brother. A tip of the hat to you, although you can't necessarily see me doing it. My camera's giving me a fit right now. But yeah, we're glad to have you here in the house. Yeah, and Robert brings up a really good point. A lot of the files that have been released are sanitized before they got released to us.
Yeah.
So we still don't know everything yet. Trump's working on it. His people are working on it. But yeah, it's going to take time. Hello, Snippet. Glad to have you here in the house with us. I think you've been here before, but if not, if you're a first timer, welcome into the chat. We love to have you. Glad to see you hanging out there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and 80,000 pages, it's going to take people a while. It really will. So yeah, as you find more stuff, let us know.
I mean,
You know, I'd
people
love to find out.
Oh, I will continue. I'm not only reading myself, I'm listening to people like Benny Johnson that can read it for him, and then he can summarize it. So I'm taking all of these.
Oh yeah, yeah, and this is going to be something that everybody gets to chew on for quite some time as we await the release of the Epstein files. Anyway, so
I think it'll happen. I think
Oh,
they're
I
just
think
having
it will.
that was definitely a very obvious cover up.
Shh, God, yes.
So.
God, yes. So, well, I'll tell you what, folks, we're going to shift gears ever so slightly. Now, you can't see me, but this wonderful person over on my camera right is Miss Tracy Barkley from GenX Mark Spot. Tracy, tell people where they can find you on social media and what they can do to help you out.
Oh, yeah. You can find me right here on YouTube at GenX Marks the Spot. I do true crime, horror movie reviews, dark history, a little bit of a Song of Ice and Fire, fantasy. Just pretty much what it's my channel, whatever I want. Those are the genres I tend to stick with. You can also see me tweeting my thoughts on occasion over at X, formerly known as Twitter, under at Tracy Barkley.
Cool. And even though you can't see my pretty face, my name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Rumble. You can find me on Twitter. I do politics, pop culture sometimes, and any number of things that ever hit my brain. So please subscribe to both of us hard-working social content creators. We would greatly appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up. Leave some comments and chat on our videos and live streams. We would do everything that we do, and we try to do it for you. So, and WWG1 says the motto for Tracy's channel, it's my channel, and I'll do what I want any old time.
Exactly.
Now I'm dancing in the chair. And y'all missing out on me getting my groove on, I'll tell you what. All right. Let us shift gears and talk about, at least from my side of it, the biggest non-story story that's going on in Washington, D.C. right now. The Signal Chat scandal. For those of you who do not know the backstory on this, or maybe you haven't heard about it, Jeffrey Goldberg of the Atlantic magazine, the editor-in-chief. Well, I'll tell you what, before I get to that, I will answer this question from the audience. What do you think of Trump's press secretary? Tracy, you want to take that one first, and I'll follow it up?
I like her a lot. I think she's very professional. She's a pit bull. She's not afraid to give it to you straight, and she's not hard to look at either.
I don't disagree with any of that. I'll just add the word bulldog. She's not rude. She's not snide. She's not condescending. If you ask her a question, she'll answer it. She'll be very direct, and she's like, okay, it's answered. We're moving on. So, Chris from My Morning Mayhem says, I have a couple thoughts on Sweet Caroline, and some of them may not be appropriate for the show. Whoa, wait a minute. What? Hey, It's supposed to be a family live stream, daggone it. No, I'm just messing with you, Chris. No, she's a very good looking lady, and I hate to tell you, gentlemen, she's happily married. So just if you thought you're going to shoot your shot, which I'm not saying you can't, I'm just saying, understand, you're probably going to be bitterly disappointed. So just saying, but well, I can't disagree with that one either. So just saying. But yeah, let's get into this story from the Atlantic. So Jeffrey Goldberg writes a story that he gets invited to a group chat on Signal, and I did a video about this last night, so I don't want to repeat everything I said, but he got basically tipped off that a strike was coming in Yemen about 2 hours before it started. He sits on this information for 9 days, publishes a story late Monday afternoon, one day before Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe, the CIA director, and Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, will be appearing before the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. And then today there was the House Select Committee on Intelligence. Now, the one thing that Goldberg didn't do is he says that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, in this group chat released war plans. Now, that phrase is very provocative. War plans. Now, let me ask you guys in chat. When you hear the term war plans, what does that make you think of? I mean, for me, I'm thinking, okay, details of the operation that's about to take place. Okay. All right. You guys want to see what it was that Pete Hegseth released? Oh, yeah, it makes you think war. Absolutely. I agree with you. Or classified information. Okay.
I'm
fair enough.
thinking times, latitude, longitude.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing.
Okay. All right. You guys want to see what was actually said by Hegseth in this group chat? Because today, and this is what makes me bring this up, Goldberg and the Atlantic magazine announced they would release Hegseth's war plans. I put that in air quotes. You guys want to see what the war plans were? This was posted in that group chat at about called 11:44 on 11:44 on Saturday morning the 15th. Weather is favorable. Just confirm with CENTCOM that we are a go. At 12:15, F-18s will launch first strike package. At 13:45, trigger-based F-18 first strike window. Target terrorist is blank. His known location should be on time. Also, drone strikes. At 2:10, more F-18s are launched. At 2:15, strike drones on target. This is when the first bombs will definitely drop. At 3:36, F-18 second strike starts. Also, sea-based Tomahawks launched. We are currently clean on OPSEC. Godspeed to our warriors. That, ladies and gentlemen, that is what Pete Hegseth wrote. That's the war plans that he supposedly released.
Missing? You know what's missing there?
Go ahead.
Kind of sounds like war plans, but we don't know who the war plans are against, what the purpose is, targets, locations. It's the concept of a war plan, to coin something that Trump said one time. It's the concept of a plan.
Yeah, and I can agree with you. I can agree with you to an extent, but I think Tracy, I think, is absolutely right about this. Okay, I know they're going to use an F-18 Hornet. I know what time they're going to launch the F-18 Hornet. I don't know what they're going to attack. I don't know who specifically they're targeting. I don't know anything about anything else. All I know is the time and the method of weaponry that we're going to use. That's it.
Yep.
Nothing else.
It could even be war games, as far as we know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, we know now it was the attack on the Houthis in Yemen, but it could have been war games.
Yep. Yeah. Well, okay. All right. This is a fair question. Why are they saying anything on a public forum like Signal?
It is.
But go ahead.
Oh, Signal is open source. Yes, it is. But it's not public. No more than your chat log on your phone or WhatsApp is public, because it's encrypted. So you can go on there and you can create channels with encryption with only certain members in, and it is as private as any communication can potentially be. That is an open source technology. Now, this would not be the first time that Signal has been used in the government. I think the Biden administration used it, and possibly the Obama administration used it too. So there is a history of people using it. Now, how a reporter got added, that's another topic altogether.
Well, and this to me is the $1 million question. As far as I'm concerned, and I'm like you. A reporter should never have been on this chat thread, okay? I don't care if it was Jeffrey Goldberg. I don't care if it were Tucker Carlson or anybody in between, okay? I'm sorry. This is a discussion among the principal members of the national security team, okay? And if you've read the previous texts that go into that thread, I'll tell you what, this was a pretty thoughtful discussion. It really was. I mean, because there were, points about, hey, look, why are we, and J.D. Vance was the one raising this. Why are we doing this? Only 3% of our commerce goes through the Red Sea and the Suez Canal. Europe is 40% of the naval traffic that goes through there. Why are we bailing the Europeans out again? How come they're not doing it? And, it was a very thoughtful discussion, but no reporter under any circumstances should ever be in that conversation. Go ahead.
Oh, I agree. And I want to know if it was Walls that added him, he needs to be disciplined for that. Absolutely. Because I've never used Signal, but I assume you can just put in somebody's cell phone number and it will add them, kind of like WhatsApp, and it's private. So somebody had that reporter's telephone number.
Well,
and that's not unusual, but
Well, and this to me was the interesting part, because I read Jeffrey Goldberg's piece at the Atlantic when I was doing my prep work for the video, and Goldberg makes a statement. He wasn't surprised that Mike Walls, because that's supposedly who initiated the invitation to the Signal chat. Okay. Jeffrey Goldberg says he got the invitation from somebody named Mike Walls. And Goldberg even says, I did not assume that it was the actual Mike Walls who did this. He said, but, I did assume this was the Mike Walls who was the national security advisor to Donald Trump. Okay.
It could have been his assistant. It could have been, it's like Small Time Republic says, it could be his assistant, somebody that was putting the chat together. And there is that tinfoil hat conspiracy that it was leaked on purpose because of the very comments you were talking about Europe, wanting Europe to know exactly what our government thinks of them, and they better get their act together.
Yeah. Now there is one thing, and I think that Mike Walls is flat lying here. Goldberg says, I'd met Mike Walls on several occasions. Mike Walls is saying, I've never met the guy. I've never seen him. I don't know anything about him. Wouldn't know him if I saw him on the street. Well, And to borrow a line from the Gershwin brothers, it ain't necessarily so. This is from some years ago, but here's a tweet from Anna Bauer on Twitter. Mike Walls claims he never met, don't know, never communicated with Jeffrey Goldberg. Here's a photo of Walls standing next to Goldberg. There's Goldberg in the back where my pointer is at. Here's Mike Walls from an event in 2021 at the French Embassy. Now, for those of you that don't know a lot about Mike Walls, and I will admit I'm not necessarily the best versed on him, Mike Walls goes back all the way to being a national security advisor under the days of Dick Cheney. This guy's got neocon written all over him. So the fact that he and Jeffrey Goldberg would be, elbow to elbow at some event doesn't necessarily surprise me. Okay. I got a feeling this is one of those deals where either, and again, I cannot prove it. But I've got a very distinct suspicion. Either Mike Walls accidentally put Jeffrey Goldberg on this, or he did it on purpose. Unto what end, I don't know. But, if Trump does choose to keep Mike Walls on after this is all over with, because I don't think Trump should call for his head. I really don't. If you give these Washington types a scalp, they'll come after another one. That's what they did with Matt Gaetz for Attorney General, and now how we have Pam Bondi. So, but yeah, this whole thing just stinks all over.
Maybe not call for his head, but should he lose his job? Maybe. It depends on who's waiting in the wings. I mean, there's also that if he is doing it on purpose, and he thought he got away with it, he might try something else later on down the line. If he is a rat on the Trump ship, don't know. I mean, to be honest, Brian, I've been introduced to people and even had my picture made with them in certain circumstances, and I can't remember. I don't remember their names to save my life. He might be in that situation. You know, maybe he has been introduced to this guy and he just doesn't recall. That is possible.
Yeah. Yeah, and Kawan, I agree with this.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And frankly, if Walls does wind up going, I'm not going to be that sad about it, because to me, that's one more neocon that shouldn't even be in the administration. So, but I tell you what, to go back to his statement, either this is extremely incompetent or corrupt AF, and I don't disagree with either one of those at all, not in the slightest. So, we'll see how all this shakes out. But the part that gets me, the worst part about all this, up to now, and it may not make any difference in the long run. It may not make a bit of difference in the long run. The Democrats in Washington and the media have had no momentum up to this point. I'm just starting to wonder if this isn't giving them the traction they've been looking for. Well, and this is true too. This is very true about Susie Wiles. She might be very effective at making the trains run on time, but her personnel picks are very, very concerning. So, but we'll see how all this shakes out. But for right now, I mean, I think Trump's playing
anybody. I can tell you, as somebody that has been in management and owned their own business, you can make poor hiring decisions. They may look good on paper, and they may wow you in the interview, and they may have a good job history, but you can still hire somebody that isn't the right fit, isn't the right person, or it's just a bad apple. It happens. I don't think it means that Trump needs to rethink his choice of Susie Wiles, or certainly he needs to rethink Waltz, but you can hire the wrong person. His first administration was, 100% example of that. I think he's done much better this time. But it is still hard to know who you can trust in Washington. Yeah. I mean, it really is, because you're going to have to hire a couple of insiders here and there, and who can you trust?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've got a TBA just sent me something. I'll pop it up here for everybody's consumption. This is from DC Drano. You know what's upsetting about Signalgate? The fact that the Trump administration felt they had to use it because other government communications are being spied on from within our government. Deep State got mad. They couldn't surveil Trump's comms, so they poison the well by sabotaging their signal chat via an infiltrator. Their goal is to push Trump's people back to the surveilled comms. They shouldn't. Deep state is mad you're on signal. Stay on signal. That's a good point. Very good point. So yeah. Oh, well, hello. Say hello to an old friend of ours. Welsh, welcome into the house, brother. Glad to see you, sir. But yeah, good to have you here. So yeah, it's turned into quite the little party. But yeah, I mean, the other thing that gets me about this, now everybody, the sharks are trying to swim around Hegseth. I mean, you had some Democrat congressman today ask John Ratcliffe, the CIA director, was Pete Hegseth drinking when this text chat was going on? Oh, Ratcliffe about came out the chair after
it. Wasn't Hegseth that did it.
Yeah.
It wasn't Hegseth that added the reporter. It wasn't Hegseth that did it.
And what Hegseth contributed by way of discussion, I mean, and he brings up a really good point, and I got to put this up for the sake of being fair. Hegseth says, so let me get this straight. The Atlantic released the so-called war plans, and those plans include no names, no targets, no locations, no units, no routes, no sources, no methods, and no classified information. Those are some really shitty war plans. This only proves one thing. Jeffrey Goldberg has never seen a war plan or an attack plan, as he now calls it, not even close. So, you know, I'm getting croaky on everybody. My apologies. I can hear it in my voice. So,
yeah, my sinuses are not the best either.
But anyway, so yeah, we'll see how all this plays out. But right now, this is the soup du jour of what goes on in D.C. So, to me, the best answer that I heard was Tulsi Gabbard today, and I'll play a snippet of this, and then we'll change up topics. But to me, this should have been the best answer of them all. Check this out.
I want to address briefly the signal chat issue that I know many of you are concerned about. The President and National Security Advisor Waltz held a press conference yesterday with a clear message. It was a mistake that a reporter was inadvertently added to a signal chat with high-level national security principals having a policy discussion about imminent strikes against the Houthis and the effects of the strike. National Security Advisor has taken full responsibility for this, and the National Security Council is conducting an in-depth review along with technical experts working to determine how this reporter was inadvertently added to this chat. The conversation was candid and sensitive, but as the President National Security Advisor stated, no classified information was shared. There were no sources, methods, locations, or war plans that were shared. This was a standard update to the National Security Cabinet that was provided alongside updates that were given to foreign partners in the region.
That should be the end of it. Right there, that should be the end of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Period. So we'll see how it all shakes out.
What Small Town Republic is saying down there, when reporters used to be actual reporters and patriots and friends of the American people, if that had accidentally happened to any reporter in any administration, they would have just deleted it and gone on their way. They would not have jeopardized national security by making a story out of it. All Mike Goldberg in the Atlantic cares about is clicks.
Well, and you know, that's a completely valid point. Here's my thing. Jeffrey Goldberg got the invitation to the signal chat on March the 11th, 4 days before the supposed incident happened. Knowing very full well that the Trump administration has no love for Jeffrey Goldberg and vice versa, why didn't Goldberg call up the National Security Council and go, guys, I got this invitation to a group chat. I just want to make sure, is this legit? I mean, did somebody make a mistake? No, he sat on it.
Press briefing. Yeah.
He sat on it. He waited. He played it out. He tried to make it like, oh, I don't know, man. Maybe this is real. Maybe it's not real. Maybe they're trying to fake us out. Well, if you thought it was such a fake out, how come you didn't get out? Jeffrey Goldberg could have voluntarily left that chat at any time he wanted to. No, he stayed in there.
Yeah.
He stayed in there just to see what he could get out of it. And then he sat on it for 9 days, knowing damn full well the Senate Intelligence Committee was going to meet on the 25th, Tuesday. And now here we are. So
Exactly.
absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I know
Well,
how
I'll tell you
to
what.
remove myself from a group.
Yeah, it's not that hard to do. It's not that hard to do at all. So, Tracy, I'll tell you what, take over for a minute or two. I'm going to grab some water and some lozenges, and I'll be right back. So, take it away.
All right. Well, really, the JFK files is all I had personally had to talk about. But I'm scrolling some of the chat. K1, I don't suppose you would be willing to elaborate why you think Hegseth is an idiot. I'm just curious. I happen to think he's a good dude. It's good at the job. But if there's something that I don't know that you have a valid reason, I would love to know your opinion on that. And again, Small Time Republic, I absolutely agree with you that he should have removed himself from the chat or just deleted it or kept it to himself. And any reporter with any love for their country would have done just that. And then he would have reported it to the National Security Service as some sort of breach and kept it under wraps and not used it to get clicks. Absolutely. Absolutely. So.
Okay,
any
I'm
other
back.
Topics? Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I was just about to ask the chat, is there any other topics that they'd like to hear a brief discussion on? Like I said, the JFK files is really all I had this time. So I'm a little light in the pocket this week.
Well, I've got one.
Sure.
While everybody's dropping in suggestions. Do you remember the prediction that Adam Carolla made shortly after the Palisades fires out in Los Angeles? That it would take forever to get building permits to start rebuilding. Remember that? Maybe you've heard about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I do remember that.
Okay. Well,
yes.
It's been 75 days since the fires. You want to know how many permits they've issued? We've got an update. This will crack you up or make you sad, one of the two.
Two.
Yeah, this is well, no, not two. More than that, fortunately. I've got a report here from KABC out in Los Angeles. So, folks, you want something that's going to make your head explode, try this.
ABC7 Eyewitness News.
New at 5, people who live in the Palisades fire zone are trying to figure out how to move forward, but there are several obstacles in the way, including a looming budget deficit for the city. Welcome back. I'm Colleen Sullivan in for Giovanna Lara.
I'm Mark Brown. People gathering at a city council committee hearing today to try to get some answers, but more concerns are being brought up as the city tries to rebuild from that devastating fire.
Eyewitness News reporter Carlos Granda has the details.
We want to get going.
The Palisades rebuilding. Residents at this city council committee hearing held on the west side were here to discuss how to move forward.
The blessing here is that we have been given an opportunity to show the world how you do disaster relief and rebuilding effectively.
But the Department of Building and Safety told the committee so far it has approved just 4 permits.
Do I need to repeat that? 4 permits in 75 days,
and there's a
4
budget
permits.
crisis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you know why there was no water in the reservoir?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No, they probably won't be anybody that's able to rebuild within 10 years. And you know what they're going to do? The city's going to come through, or the state's going to come through, and they're going to offer them an amount for their property. They're going to buy it all up, and they're going to build something for the state, or build something like the Olympic village they want to build. So it's just going to be all profitable for the state. I'm not saying they caused the fires. Don't believe that. I believe they were complacent and being idiots that allowed them to happen, but they're certainly not going to waste a crisis.
Oh, absolutely not. 4 permits in 75 days. That's it. Nothing else. I mean, and and I could play a little bit more of this, but the mayor awarded a $10 million? Yeah, $10 million contract to an outside consulting firm to come up with a plan for how to rebuild. Excuse me, you are running a multi-billion-dollar city government. You mean to tell me you don't have people inside the government that know how to do this sort of thing? Why are you paying out that kind of money in the midst of a budget crisis?
Planner?
Thank you. Thank you.
You don't have an actual city planner?
You would think. You would think. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. So, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the people that, the people that make sure you don't have a methadone clinic next to a school in most cities, city planner. But of course, this is Los Angeles, so they probably have one in the school.
Yeah, probably. TBA over on Rumble says all these cities that got burned to the ground had already pre-planned for, quote, rebuilding for a 15-minute city. Brother, you're probably right. You are probably right. I mean, I'm going to be, WWG1 with a great quote. Why be a city planner when you could be an architect instead? George Costanza. So there's a little Seinfeld wisdom for you out there, folks. But yeah, 4 permits in 75 days. People want to get back to the business of trying to rebuild their lives, and city government's not going to let them do it. So, yep. Try that one off your size, folks. Unbelievable. Well, I tell you what, if for no other reason, for the sake of my croaky throat, we're going to go ahead and bring this train into the station. But I wanted to, since we missed doing last week's, I want to try and get back here and get together with you guys because I miss you guys. I really do. I miss hanging out with y'all. You guys are a lot of fun. So, yeah.
I enjoy doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But next week we'll be on my channel. And
that's right. That's right.
And I'm going to suggest a topic that might be somewhat controversial, but I think it'll be fun.
Okay.
Brian, if you're down for it, we will be discussing the movie Starship Troopers on my channel next week.
Okay.
And
I'm down for that.
It's controversial because everyone calls it the fascist dream. I happen to disagree. So it's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think it'll be a fun, lively discussion.
Yeah. If for no other reason, I could see Dizzy again. So, sorry. Dina Meyer is just a gorgeous actress.
Yeah, absolutely. There was some dude on Twitter that was talking about how ugly that Dizzy looks awful even with her clothes on, and I retweeted it and just happened to put, "Tell me you're gay without telling me you're gay." That you don't like Dizzy with her top off.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, I'm down for that. We'll do it. So in the meanwhile,
Perfect.
by way, I do have one announcement for this weekend. I will be traveling, and so Front Porch Brunch is postponed till next Saturday. But I want to do a plug. There's a reason. There are 2 reasons why I'm traveling. One is to go see the lady. The other reason, and this is sort of an advertisement to help what I consider a friend. The reason that we're going out this weekend, well, thank you for asking up in Connecticut. She's doing pretty good. She's doing pretty good. Good days and bad days for 88 years old. So Ma Trippett is doing okay. But the reason, in part, that I'm traveling this weekend, Chrissy Mayer is on the road. She has a show in Fort Wayne, Indiana, at the Fort Wayne Comedy Club. 7 o'clock show and a 9:15 show. So if you happen to be in that area, the tickets are pretty reasonably priced. Get online, get yourself a ticket, go out and support Chrissy. So the lady and I will be catching her act this Saturday night. So that is why Front Porch Brunch is postponed to next Saturday. So just want to let you guys know right now. So yeah, if you're in that area, it's the Cincinnati area, it's only like a 3-hour drive, or anywhere around, it's like Indianapolis, Columbus, what have you. Check it out. Come on up. And we will go from there. So yeah, help out Chrissy. And in the meanwhile, I'll be back with more videos this week. Tracy, what do you got cooking in the immediate future till we get together next Wednesday night?
I do have a few videos in the works. I've been a little lack on getting them out recently, so I'm going to try to drop at least 2 over the next 2 weeks. So you'll be seeing finally my re-upload of my Silk Road video. I've been a little antsy about reloading it since it got struck the last time I put it up. I think I've gotten rid of everything that they didn't like, so I'm going to attempt to re-upload that. And then I have another little true crime up my sleeve. And yes, to answer up in Connecticut's earlier question, I am going to cover the case of the woman that had her stepkid locked in her room for 20 years up in Connecticut.
Oh my word. Wow. Okay. Well, for my part, I'm going to try and get out maybe one more video.
People never cease to amaze me.
Oh yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. I'm going to try and get out at least one more video this week. And hopefully by the beginning of next week, I'm back to normal health-wise and everything else. So, folks, thank you for stopping by. Remember to hit the like button on the way out. Catch up with you later. And Tracy, hang on. We'll say goodbye backstage. Have a good night, everybody.
All right.